As Jerome Corsi said, my name is Mara Zabest. I am a teacher of Adobe programs and Microsoft programs for government employees, as well as many Fortune 500 companies. I also co-author, and I'm a technical editor for over 100 books. A dozen of those are for Adobe programs. I came to look at this birth certificate on the day that it was released from a friend of mine. I have many friends who rely on me for my expertise. I can't tell you how many times people call me up, and they, in this case too, they just said, if anybody can tell if it's real or fake, I know it'd be you. You'd have to look at it and tell me what you see. I went to the White House website. I downloaded the file. I opened it up in Illustrator, and the reason I opened up in Illustrator is because I know that if it's a PDF, it's going to, Illustrator's still going to retain a lot of the information. And so I opened it up in Illustrator to see what I could find. Within seconds, this is not only a fake document, it is an obvious fake document. It was just unbelievable. I was just in shock that what I was looking at. This document is just impossible that it could be authentic. And I can show you why. If we open up this document, just to show you, if I get info too, this document was, well, I thought maybe it showed where I downloaded it from, but it doesn't. Let's go ahead. Oh, okay. If we open this document up in Illustrator, oh, this is the report. Do you not have the document on here? That's why it looked like it was created. Because I see this is the report too.
You want that in?
Mm-hmm.
I've opened it.
Illustrator.
Well, you can do that.
Okay.
It's not in that now. Can you change it to Illustrator?
Well, where is this? It's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Just right click. Put on the desktop.
That's it. You want to open it up?
Yeah, just you need to right click on it and choose open it. Okay. When you open this document up in Illustrator, first you have this links palette here which shows multiple links. That is not normal for a normal document. If this document had been scanned into a computer, as the White House says it has been, you would only see one flat layer and one link. If we look at the layers palette here, we see multiple layers. That is not normal for a normal document. If you take a picture and you scan it in, or a document and you scan it in, you should only see one layer. It's a flat image. On these layers, if you take a look at any one of these, there's these little eye icons next to it. You can click on them and you can turn them on and off and see what layer goes to it. This is the text. This is the stamp. This is the date. This is part of a date. This is another date. This document has obviously been manufactured digitally. This is not a scan. If you take any one of these objects, I'll take the stamp here, you can move it. When do you scan in any document and be able to just move pieces from it? When you scan in something, it's a picture. You cannot move pieces from it unless it's an edited document and it's been manufactured. This is not normal. I have heard people say that this happens if you scan in with OCR. This is not an OCR document either. There's so many inconsistencies with this document. If you zoom in, look at the differences in text. And this isn't just in, by the way, this number here is one of these layers. Let me see which one it is. Well, these numbers here, when you're looking at this, you have an inconsistency of what I refer to as noise. When you scan in a document, you're going to have a consistency of pixelation, noise, whatever you want to call it. You can see that a little bit in this one here, which means it could have come from another document scan, not necessarily this was scanned in with something here, which is what I think happened. You also have it in combination with letters here that look very jagged edge, bitmap. There's a difference in color. Same sort of thing if you move down to any part of this document. There's boxes here. You can see these two boxes here. This box has the bitmap black X. This one has the pixelated X. You can see letters up here that are pixelated, but letters next to it are bitmap, which indicate that when they adjusted this box with the X, they had to adjust the letters that were nearby too. If you scan down further here, you have a difference. You don't have the bitmap and the noise mixed together, but you do have a difference in color. That color usually occurs when somebody thinks it looks black on the screen, but when they print it to PDF, it doesn't print as a pure black. So somebody made a lot of errors here. And as I said, I mean, I can only just reiterate it again. This is just not a fake, it's an obvious fake. I have not found anybody I know that I work with in my industry that have looked at this and can explain this other than this is an edited document. That's pretty much all I have to say here, I guess.
And we're going to have time for questions and answers for Jerry and Mara. I know we do want to get to the lawsuit, but I want everybody here to think about the ramifications of what Mara's just showed us. That the birth certificate issued by the White House in April is clearly fraudulent. And she's not the only expert saying this. In fact, every expert we have consulted has said the same thing. I want to make this point too. Not one news media institution in this country has found a qualified expert of Mara's caliber to affirm that this birth certificate is real. And that's astonishing, because if the press has gotten to the point in this country where we just accept whatever handouts the government provides to us and take them at face value, we're all in a lot of trouble. We never would have uncovered Watergate with that kind of attitude. So with that, I would like to transition here to talk about the Esquire lawsuit, and I want to introduce the very distinguished attorney and my dear friend Larry Klayman to tell us all about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. We live in the real world today, unfortunately, where people practice the politics of personal destruction, a phrase that's been used by many on all sides of the political spectrum. Sometimes in the media, people get personally involved in an issue. This has been a very controversial issue, the birther issue. And one would expect that a magazine such as Esquire and its reporter Mark Warren, which have a distinguished record historically, would have reported this issue with regard to the book by Mr. Corsi and WorldNet Daily Books and Mr. Farrah's involvement accurately. But the reporter got personally involved, and he made some statements which were very damaging, not just to the organizations, WorldNet Daily Books, WorldNetDaily.com, but to the individuals involved, Mr. Farrah and Mr. Corsi. It was amateurish. It was rank. It hurt. And what occurred was that on the morning of May 18th at 10 a.m., an article was published in Esquire stating, "Breaking, Jerome Corsi's birther book pulled from the shelves." There was nothing stated about satire. We all know that when there's satire, whether it was Mad Magazine in the past or in the present, usually it's identified as satire. And what was published was starkly real to the reader. And let me read you just a portion of that, which is in the complaint, which is actionable, and I'll tell you why it's actionable and why this was a serious mistake by Mark Warren and Esquire, for which they will pay dearly. Quote, "In a stunning development one day after the release of Where's the Birth Certificate, the case that Barack Hussein Obama is not eligible to be president, by Dr. Jerome Corsi, WorldNet Daily editor and chief executive officer Joseph Farrah has announced plans to recall and pulp the entire 200,000 first print run of the book, as well as announcing an offer to refund the purchase price to anyone who has already bought either a hard copy or electronic download of the book." In an exclusive interview, a reflective Farrah, who wrote the book's foreword and also published Corsi's earlier book, selling work, Unfit for Command, Swift Boat Veterans Speak Out Against John Kerry, and Capricorn 1, NASA, JFK, and the Great Moon Landing Cover-Up, said that after much serious reflection, he could not go forward with the project. I believe, this is a quote of Mr. Farrah, which is attributed to him, "I believe with all my heart that Barack Obama is destroying the country, and I will continue to stand against his administration at every turn. But in light of recent events, this book has become problematic and contains what I now believe to be factual inaccuracies," he said this morning. Quote, "I cannot in good conscience publish it and expect anyone to believe it." When asked if he had any plans to publish a corrected version of the book, he said cryptically, quote, "There is no book," unquote. Farrah declined to comment on the discussions of the matter with Corsi. A source at WorldNet Daily, who requested that his name be withheld, said that Farrah was rip shit when on April 27th, President Obama took the extraordinary step of personally releasing his long-form birth certificate, thus resolving the matter of Obama's legitimacy for anyone with a brain. He called upon Corsi and really tore him a new one, says the source. Quote, "I mean, we'll do anything to hurt Obama and erase his memory, but we don't want to look like fucking idiots, you know. Look, at the end of the day, bullshit is bullshit." Quote unquote. Corsi, who graduated from Harvard and is a professional journalist, could not be reached for comment. Now, where in our right mind and in our entire lives, and I got to tell you, I've seen a lot, I've brought many defamation cases and other types of cases on both sides. I've never seen something that was totally fabricated. No one ever spoke with Mr. Farrah, he never made those comments. This was completely manufactured and false. And it was obviously calculated with malice to destroy not just the book and its sales, but to destroy the reputations of Mr. Corsi and Mr. Farrah. The stupidity of this is beyond belief. The legal actionability of this is believable. The reason that these things happen in Washington, as I was said, and in New York and in the press world, is because people take things personally. Things should be published in a non-personal way. And after this was called into question,